welcome back to One Last Turn and welcome back to Transport Fever 2. We're just riding along, heading for St. John's Road. That is our goods factory that we set up last time. And this little truck is carrying some plastics. Now, today we need to get those goods somewhere. And the way we're gonna do that is by building our first proper cargo hub. And we'll get more into that in a little bit, what that is, how we're gonna do it. But first I just want to say thank you for watching, and it would really mean a lot for me if you could hit the subscribe button. A lot of you aren't subscribed that are watching. It just really helps me out, so if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. Of course, the like button and the comments are open as well if you enjoyed this video or any of the other videos that I have been doing, both Transport Fever 2 and the other series. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. A little plea. Really help me out and the channel, and see that you are enjoying the content. Okay, so let's take a look at, oops, didn't mean to pause it there. Take a look at what we want to do. We want to get our goods, we want to get those down to Wendover, and Wendover don't really want that many, just want 8. So we're also gonna have to get some over to Halstead, and that's completely fine. Now we want to make a cargo hub, and I'm thinking, if we take a look at the map, this is the north section. If we could draw most of the stuff, or at least a good portion, into a cargo hub sitting somewhere around here, then we would be pretty well off in sending it down to the southern, well, first the middle and also the southern part of the map. So think right around Wendover would be a pretty decent spot. One could maybe argue that just about this Corby oil well would be slightly better. So I think for getting all of the northern stuff, having the cargo hub around here, around Northleach, that would make a lot of sense. But it's just right around these mountains, and I think stretching it just a little bit to the other side of that mountain range over here would make a lot of sense, in that it will both allow us to sort of connect to Corby very easily, and we would be able to get to Wendover also relatively easily. If we were to place it somewhere around here, it would be much closer to Wendover, which is sort of the city that we are working towards right now. And it's not like it's that much of a difference. So maybe somewhere around here is actually going to be very good. Now, what is a cargo hub? Well, a cargo hub is just a station, really. But the primary function of the station is to sort of gather a lot of cargo at a single point. So instead of us having, for example, we have the construction materials. Okay, that's a bad example. Instead of us having goods go from up here down to Wendover, and then they'll either get sent off from Wendover over to Halstead, or we'll have 2 lines, one for Wendover, one for Halstead. We can sort of make a hub where all of these things will flow through, and it has a couple of advantages, both in that like in real life, what you do is you do ships, and then you do ships and you do trains for sort of long distance, or flights for sort of long distance, and then for those last couple of miles you do road transportation, because this is usually just what is more affordable and more efficient. So that sort of simulates that a bit. If we can do a train line, get it into our train hub or cargo hub around here, and then we could do trucks the rest of the way into Wendover. We can send it about to Halstead. Corby might be a little out of reach for trucks at this point. Not quite sure. It might be fine. Let's see, if we were to just throw in a road like this, that's 800 meters, and then down on here, it's like 1500 meters. It's a little on the long side. It's about the same distance as here. We have a bit of a mess going on down here that we didn't catch last time. We'll have to fix that in just a second. Let's just pause the game to sort of let that not accumulate too much. But what the hub will allow us to do is do the last stretches will be by truck, and then we can move vast quantities with these longer trains that can carry a lot of goods at once. It will allow us to sort of gather stuff into one spot, and then if we want, we can send those further down into the middle of the map at a new hub somewhere along Eden, for example. That would be a possibility. And then it could be distributed from there. Hopefully it also makes for some more profitable routes, in that the rate will increase if the route is shorter by train, and we don't have to do these sort of curves to get into Wendover, because the station is placed somewhat wonkily. We'll have to probably redo this station at some point anyway, but still. So that's what we're gonna go for. We're gonna go for a cargo hub, and that it's really just a train station that's gonna end up having a lot of tracks, a lot of platforms. Now, one thing that can help us out a bit in the future is if we could connect to this industry here, then those are already sort of in the cargo hub. We have coal sort of immediately, which would be good. If that would be possible, then we can send it off somewhere or whatever. But instead of having to set up a tiny truck line, it would be nice if it was just connected sort of immediately. Now there is a bit of a hill here. I think this tiny sort of, the hill is less here, so if we could get the tracks to sort of come in here, and then the station is probably going to be somewhere around here, that makes a lot of sense to me. Somewhere around here seems like a good spot for a station. So let's throw that down. Now let's just see immediately whether or not... Come on, autosave. Whether or not this is too far away. 300 meters. It is too far away. Probably need to get it over here somewhere. What if instead we moving this is gonna cost us, I mean, it's not gonna cost us that much more money. So we can just move it slightly closer. Maybe we just sort of lower this a little more. That way we can move this one a little further up. Hopefully that is close enough. There we go. Yeah, now it's connected. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so let's just get our goods down there. That is the primary mode of operations for the cargo hub just now, and then we'll start putting things in there as well moving forward. There's really two routes we can take, right? We can go through this sort of mountainous area if we go either this way around North Leach, but probably what makes most sense in that would be to go this way around and then down through here, and then a big sort of straight stretch, straight-ish. What? So we have two possibilities. We can either go through this mountainous area here, sort of straight-ish, on the side of this oil well, and then north over North Leach, or we can sort of go through this mountain area here, along this mountain, and then into this plains area and down. I'm not sure what is gonna be better. If we take some track, let's say we take some track here and try and just, what is it gonna say? Of course it's gonna go with this through underneath the city. Okay, crazy. Okay, let's try and take some track from here then instead. See how that looks. 6 million, because there is... So we're going over the mountain instead of underneath the mountain. Okay. Anyways, what I wanted to see is the distance. 4,200 meters. Now, if we go here, it's going to be 1,200 meters there, and then it's going to be some, so that's 28. 1,000, 1,800, and 1,800 is 36, and then another 1,700, so that's 46, 53, and if we go this route instead, we do 1,000 and 2,000, 3,000. Right, so it's about the same, it seems. If it's about the same, then I think I want to go through here, just because then we don't have to make a tunnel underneath this area. So let's throw in a station. I'm gonna leave it as a regular cargo station just in case we want to connect to this rail line. Then I don't want it to be terminus. Just gonna put it here and we'll get a little bit of road to connect everything up. Here we go. And let's just get some tracks down. So I'm wondering where is the better approach. I mean, I for sure want track here. And I don't think we can avoid having to cut the terrain a little bit there. If we just take this up to our station, what is that gonna look like? It's gonna be a bit of a tunnel going underneath that road there. Okay, it's only 1 million though. Is there a way where we can have some track here? No, it doesn't seem like it. We can curve here, so we can maybe get it here. Yeah, okay. So we can have some track there. How about getting up here now? There's a collision, but it's 120 and we don't need a tunnel. We can make it a level crossing, like so. Don't really like this part, so we'll have to do it in a little bit more of stretches. So if we just make it over to the road here, then that also gets that sort of terrain height correctly, and then this is just gonna be, that looks really neat. So we're cutting through a bit here, having a little bit of an embankment, and then cutting through a bit more here, but that is pretty unavoidable, I think. Let's just get rid of this road here just for this second, so we can drag this through. Maybe we'll drag out some. Don't want too much. I think this is probably an okay height of embankment, and we'll be just skirting by that oil well. I think that's okay. Now the question is, what sort of curve did this give us? Might have been too far ahead. So what if we try taking it back a little bit? Does that avoid? It does avoid stuff. A little bit of an embankment here. We could take it down just a few so it's not that aggressive. And then we just gotta get rid of those pieces of road that we can re-establish if need be. Oh, where are we up here? There we go. That looks good to me. How much did we end up spending? 2.3 million. That's actually not 2.2 million. It's not too bad in terms of cost for this railway. Now we gotta get a train on here, and I'm just gonna utilize the fact that we have a through station and connect to this train depot up here. I think we'll try going with the T3. Maybe we should go with the G3 since it does have slightly higher speed. And it's a little bit cheaper. Okay, so let's go with the G3 and then we will throw in some cars, and needs to be box cars in order to do goods. And I would like to stay in sort of good territory, but that is just not gonna happen. So let's maybe 52 in capacity. That takes the medium down to 47. Maybe we want to try and stay at 50. 49 is close enough. 48 capacity. I think we'll try with this and sort of see what that gives us. We'll go from North Leach down to this Wendover North, and this will be cargo. Good cargo. Okay, so let's call it CH1, Cargo Hub 1, goods supply. Yeah, we'll call it that, and we'll have to see how that ends up going before we come back to sort of expanding this. I think we'll probably sort of connect maybe the construction materials to here as well and send them to Wendover this way around instead of this current setup. Not entirely sure. We'll have to think about that a little bit while we try and sort out this mess over here. Now, the issue is quite straightforward. There's only one entrance, and they are all coming in. Both of the lines are coming in. And if it so happens that there are multiple planks waiting, then the ones with logs, they get stuck in the entrance and are unable to come and deliver it, and this will never be resolved. So what we're gonna do is we are going to add a one-way entrance and a one-way exit here, and then we are also, just for symmetry's sake, gonna expand that side a little bit, and then we are going to make a dedicated road for our loggers. And I am sort of tempted to just go straight from here. But I'm also not sure whether or not I completely like that. It's not like there's that much traffic. We can actually check, right? We can see, no, not destination. Which one is it? Street traffic. Nope, that's not the one I wanted to see. There's one with numbers. I do believe it's this one. Okay, yeah, so there's just no traffic along this road at all. So I think just to avoid making such a ugly looking road, we will make a connection here instead. And they will just cross there. And then when they exit, they will exit back into this. And this should theoretically, yep, change the route of the logging vehicles. But the plank supply will just use this one as usual. Now, this will make it so there is no crossover between the lines. They won't be sort of waiting together. So that should fix that issue. Hopefully, let's start the game and we will just send him on his way. Oh, actually, the logging people are just moving past already. Or not all of them at least, but maybe having those here, they will be enough. It's enough for them to start coming in proper. We might need to send a few on their way. Just swap them around again before they get too far. Don't want them going empty-handed. But that should pretty much do it. I am quite sure, at least. Now it's just up to the loading and unloading speed of the vehicles. And that is just not something we have much control over. There's no new trucks for us to choose yet. But at some point that will be become better as well. Of course, we could set up a train line instead, but I don't think this short distance is gonna make much sense. We could, of course, take our planks up to our distribution hub, or sorry, our cargo hub, our new cargo hub here, and that could make... Oh. Now we started the game and we did get stuff and the train is moving, but we forgot an important piece of information. Where is the train even? Is this the train? Yeah, okay, so it hasn't moved that far, so that's good. We want to manage our line, of course. We want to make sure that it loads until full at the goods factory. But we also want to make sure that there's actually any demand, because right now there is not. And that is because we are missing sort of the distribution part down here. I think we'll place it somewhere around here. And then we need a road, of course. That is connected. We'll just give it a couple of more platforms and a small building as well, just in case it gets overfilled. We have a road depot here in Wendover, and we'll just utilize that. I think that's gonna be fine. Let's get some DMGs. I'm wondering, does it make sense to just use the carriage? Because it's cheaper. No, we'll just end up using more because it's also slower and the loading speed is better. So let's just get 3. Actually, let's get 4, not 34. Let's get 4. And we'll send the first one on a new route from Wendover to Wendover. That was wrong, yeah. This one. Lower Wendover to that one there. Not a big fan of the crossing there, but that's gonna have to do. What I wanted to see though is if we're actually hitting. Yeah, we have our that's machines. Where's the goods? Where do they want the goods? I'm sure it's somewhere similar. Oh yeah, in there. So that's completely covered by that stop there in New Road. Okay, cool. So that was the first one, and then let's get the other ones on a new line from Lower Wendover and to Halstead, which we haven't got a drop-off point. We'll just throw that right in the middle there. That would be line 2, this one. And I just sent them on it, but the line isn't done. Add a station. There we go, Manchester Road. And of course we wanted to load until full. We only wanted to load goods. Lower Wendover, and this one will be called Halstead Goods Supply. And line 1 here will be Wendover Goods Supply. And of course that one also will be load only goods. Will load forever. How about the other one? Halstead. Load that one forever as well. Cool. That should do it. That should do the trick. We should start getting some goods on the station here once we get some steel in. And we're not getting any steel. Where is our steel train? It's sitting here. For some reason it has some coal in it, which it shouldn't have, but it does, so we'll just send it along its way. Hopefully that production starts up soon and everything will be good. Okay. Cool. We can see here if there's a consumer. Maybe not until the production actually starts. Now, just having this one line on our cargo hub. Doesn't really make much sense. Doesn't make it much of a cargo hub. So I think what I want to do is I want this to be solely for passengers eventually, and I probably also want to... No, it's in a decent spot for passenger transport, I think. But I don't want it to be for cargo. I want all of our cargo to be coming from Lower Wendover over here. So I want our construction materials to be sent over there. We'll probably have to redo this station so that the innermost one is cargo and we have passengers on the outside, just so it can swing over here more easily. But if we start by trying to get a somewhat decent angle for going in here, how much can we do at 120? That's not going to be enough. It is heading into the station, so maybe we'll be okay with 90. Let's try this and see. So we can do 120, or we can get out sort of like here. I like the placement, I like the way that it's going through the mountain. Would like it to be here maybe, and still have a tunnel. Yeah, a tunnel like that. Does mean it's going up a bunch in the tunnel though. Let's see, I want... Why can't I do that? Okay, I want it to branch off here. Like this. Then we can go here. I want it to go be pretty flat. Like here, and then this will become a tunnel, I'm pretty sure. Yep. No? Okay. That's interesting. Well, yes, but then it goes out a little bit. I don't want that. It's a little bit steep, but that is just the terrain difference that's there between this and Corby. Corby's in a bit of a ditch, or at least this part here is. So we do start by going down a bunch here, don't we? Not that much. I think this is going to be fine. I think this is going to be fine. And then I want to take our existing line Corby Wendover cargo. Actually, maybe what I want to do is I'll make a new line from Corby cargo and to Wendover North. We'll call it CH1 Conmats Supply. Okay. And then we just need to follow this train. We will speed up the game a bit. That way we can also take a look and see, yeah, this seems to be sorting itself out a bit. There might be a slight mismatch between the rates, but that's okay. We can fix that. And if we pause the game, this one is going without being full, which is annoying because we didn't set the max stop time. But it's going to be okay. We do have some goods starting to stack up here, so that's very, very nice. All of our plastics, this is just gonna be really quick and rough. All of our plastics is waiting on oil to be delivered, and oil. And where is our oil train? It's coming right there. It's currently running. I mean, finances are amazing, but it only has 60 capacity. I would like to change that because we're running with the G3. If we change it out to a PLM, I think we should be able to throw. Yeah, we can stay in good territory and still be like 50% more capacity. It's only gonna cost us 2.2 million. I think that's gonna be good for the long term. Okay, yeah, so everything around that seems to be fine. So we just need this train to do this, and then we can change it to go on to CH1 Conmat Supply. And that should be that. Then we just need a new line from Lower Wendover to Wendover. That is gonna be Wendover to Wend Conmats not supply, delivery. And we have one of those where we have this cargo delivery that we're gonna have to sort of get rid of. This one, manage line in Corby, wait until full forever. We'll just get it a little bit out of the station before we send him back. Okay, that was not far enough. There we go. So he needs to wait for the construction materials, but he won't because we aren't delivering them yet. Let's get our cargo delivery trucks. We'll manage the vehicles. Let's just take all of them and put it on to this one, and then we'll see what ends up missing, and that's probably gonna be food. That is probably gonna be food. So we'll have to keep an eye on the food train supply going in here. And eventually we probably want to get that up to Wendover North as well, but going through Wendover to do that would be a little bit silly, so maybe we need to change the route to follow the mountains. Then we'll sort of abandon the machines factory for Ashton-under-Lyne, or at least we would have to have a different sort of setup for that. So we'll have to think a little bit on that before we make that change. But the train is filling up with cargo now. There's still some wanting to do this Corby-Wendover cargo line because I haven't deleted it. But we'll just get rid of it like so. Now, it is quite slow in filling up, which we don't like. So we might have to adjust the size of this. We can also see, I mean, it's running barely profitable. So question is if, I think this is also a shorter distance. Question is if when a rate of 170 is completely too much. So let's get rid of like half the cars. That leaves us with a rate of 85. And how much does Wendover want? It wants 111, so a little to be desired there, but at least this will match the supply that we can actually handle right now. So we'll have to beef up those rates. I want to make sure that this line we got going here loads forever and only brings conmats. And that rate is 50. Now this is one thing that is potentially could be an issue with doing it like this, because we have such bad trucks. We need quite a lot of vehicles to have a rate that's anywhere near like desirable, because the distance is so vast. We could sort of make a shortcut here. We could do that for sure and save a bit on travel distance. So if we branch off there, and go here, well, it's 200k, but it makes it a little bit more direct at least. Not sure if that's gonna change our rate immediately, but it should help. For certain. How is our Conmats train doing? Nearly full. Just one more delivery. How does Corby is full, being fully delivered. It's actually being over delivered a little bit. What about this Conmats feeder? It's doing 83, which sort of matches the train. So what if we just set this guy to go with the feeder as well? That should set it to 90. And this one should drop to 74, which is closer to Corby as well. Train's going. Let's speed up and follow it. Doing 45, 46, 47. Okay, we're doing full speed. That's very nice. I was uncertain if it could do that climb, but it can. No issue there. We're not even... I think we're using the G3, so that's very good. How does this look for finances? We get paid 200k. Okay, that is obviously less. Question is, the running costs are 300k. So question is if we can do like twice a year. Frequency is 6 minutes. That does sort of match twice a year, as far as I remember. So I think we should be slightly profitable on this line still. And that is good. Additionally, we'll be able to bring stake things back from this cargo hub to Corby, if at all necessary. And yeah, it can definitely go. It's already full when we get back here, so that should match with twice a year. I was waiting for a free path because our passenger train is currently running on the same track, and we have some sort of weird setup going, but that... Should we change? Yeah, let's change that. Actually, we shouldn't change that while there's trains in the station, so we will just have to wait till those are gone. How does this passenger line do financially? It's pretty much break even. That's pretty neat, actually. Okay, now we can configure this. Get rid of everything. Oh, I didn't mean to get rid of the building there. That was a mistake. Whoops. Okay, let's get rid of the station then. Do a passenger station. I think. Do it like, you know what? Let's do a cargo station. That way it's just gonna be a little bit easier. And I'll move it a bit back here. Whoops. Damn it. I just wanted to sort of get it. Wanted to raise it a bit. I was just pressing the wrong buttons. I want it to be here. Because then we should easily be able to connect this cargo to the outside here. We can, and then we can configure this, add a second set of tracks, and of course a passenger platform. And we can easily connect that to that set of tracks there. Now, Wendover Corby, manage the line. We will add this stop. So Wendover needs to be on Terminal 1, and it is. And then it gets to Corby, but it really wants to go in Terminal 1 as well, because there's no way for it to cross. So we have a bit of a weird setup here. We don't want this here, and we don't want that there, but we do want a... That is a wrong signal as well. Get rid of that one. So we'll have a... I think we'll do it before this other split off. Just because then they won't ever interfere with each other. And of course we will have a signal just before that exit there. Manage the line. Still sort of wants us to go on that. Do Wendover, and then we'll add a station, which is this passenger side. That looks much better. Cool, and we can start it up again. Quite a bit of traffic actually heading to and from Wendover. That's interesting. Do they think it's faster to take the to do private transportation instead of public transportation? I mean, that must be the case. I just don't really understand why. Currently have 18 people. I thought you could see, yeah, okay, destination North Street, which is just the next one. Oh well, maybe that will sort of figure itself out, or I mean, maybe it won't, and we'll just have to see on that one though. Cool. So that leaves us with with both construction materials and with goods here in our cargo hub, which is very nice, and it's all being delivered to Wendover just as before, but instead of that usual, or at least instead of how it was before, it's now coming in from out here, and this is purely a passenger and food station. Speaking of food, we should have some stockpiled. So what's going on there? Where is our food train being held up? This guy is waiting for a free path, and so is this one, and so is this one, and so is this one, and so is this one. because we have a food train just sitting here in Ashton under Lynn with a singular machine, so it's unable to sort of complete its, it can't load fully. And that's because, why is that? That's because, can we see where it's meant to go with this machine? My guess is it's a machine for Wendover. That shouldn't be a problem going forward. But if it is, we should be able to, there's always a lot of food. There's always a lot of food in Ashton under Lynn, so we should be able to set it just to load, if any. And that should sort of deal with that, hopefully. Let's take a look at our planks and logs here. The rate of logs is 180. It can support 400. So how about we double that? Get another 16 vehicles. Get the rate to 362. That would produce 200 planks. And currently that rate is 91. So if we double that as well, we get to 180. That should be able to be supported. Obviously, there's gonna be a little bit of a backup time until these vehicles all get on the road. But I think it should be good. I think we should be able to do that. We already have a majority of planks. So what we really need is more steel. And if we manage this vehicle, we are running with the G3. We could upgrade to a PLM. That way it could gain a little bit of speed, but I don't really want to extend the capacity because it's already such a long train running on such a short distance. So I think I would rather just make it so that we can run multiple trains on here. So let's just double track it, except for in the stations. And we'll get some signals on here. It's going that way, going that way, going that way, and going that way, and then probably in the middle of this one somewhere along here. And then we should be able to double our production by just cloning this one. Not completely sure where that comes out. It comes out down here. It should be fine. Okay. We are overflowing a little bit down here, so let's get a couple extra platforms and an extra cargo building. That should be good for now. Obviously we need some more vehicles here to support. How about we get an additional 6? That gives us to 87, which is about the rate that the train is running at. How are the finances for the combat supply looking? Yeah, we are in profit here, and we look at the train. The profit is also, I mean, it looks to be better than it was before, so that is good. I don't know about this one, how that was before, but this is also making money, so that is good. So we increased the profitability, and we sort of took some traffic away from this, which will turn into a passenger station completely eventually. And the cool thing about this is now if we want to get Conmat to Halstead, for example, or down here to Boroughbridge, we just need to get it from our cargo hub instead of using this Wendover station as sort of a pseudo cargo hub. And that's, I mean, that's definitely something you can do, but I just don't really like the look of it. It's constricting the city. It's, I mean, we would need so many tracks and stuff. I think I'm much more happy with this cargo hub, and it's an added benefit, in my opinion, that it makes a little bit of money, and that we can just we can get stuff to the cargo hub, and then we can distribute it from there instead of having to send it to a city. So yeah, very pleased with that. What is going on here? Oh, it's all the... okay, yeah, so they all got spawned in Wendover, it seemed. It seems. That's interesting. Not sure why that happened, but should be fine. Not an issue. I hadn't noticed this. I just saw it. This is actually quite annoying. We have to deliver some coal from this coal mine if we want to wanted to stay here. We could try and get it to this steel mill over here. If we throw a third set of tracks onto here, can we get any sort of angle going this way that isn't just completely bonkers? I mean, it's going uphill. We can't really avoid that. Can we hit this? We can. Not without these roads being in the way, though. Don't quite appreciate that it has to go up so far. Why don't we just connect this one? No. What if we make a slightly... better angle for ourselves here initially, just shorter a bit, and then get that going. This makes our train a little bit wobbly. I would much rather... No, it's still a bit wobbly. God damn it. Okay, what if I do this? Connect this one, and then we connect... That was terrible. Then we connect here. At least this crossing is gonna be pretty much flat. Then we just have the issue of these other two crossings. Like this slightly better. Let's just go for this one, and we will try. Yeah. Maybe we can ramp it up to here. That's not possible. Okay. Can't do this. While I don't particularly like it, I think that's just how it's gonna have to be right now. Cutting quite a bit of the mountain here. Not that much we can do about that, to be honest. But we do want a station. Get a road around here with some connections. This seems like a pretty decent spot for a station, actually. And we'll connect there, and then we can, like, maybe should have given it a bit of a curve. You can relatively easily get into Taolo here, if necessary, or even into this goods factory here if necessary. Now, one more problem is we do have some train depots. They're just too far away. I'm not sure they would make it in time. So I'm gonna throw in a new train depot. Unfortunately. It doesn't need to be the biggest and baddest train. Let's go for the G3. And we'll just do... Actually, I want to stay in the good. Let's go for 28 capacity. It's not that good. How about the PLM? We can stay good much longer. I don't know, maybe this is... I mean, it's overkill in regards to the length of our station for sure. Maybe we do this. We need a bit of money. We don't have the time to... sort of wait. So I think I'm just gonna borrow it and we'll pay it back relatively quickly. We'll set up a new line that's going from Wendover up to this steel, and this will be Halstead steel coal supply. Yeah, I think that's gonna be okay. And we'll just have to see if this doesn't... we don't make it in time. Okay, so we actually didn't need to deliver it, it just needed a consumer. Oh, and it didn't completely fill up. We want that, of course. And we want it to only be with coal, no unloading. Just let it exit the station so it can go back. And it can fill up completely. Okay. So we saved that coal mine from extinction. Hopefully this is going to be break-even sort of money. I want to connect this one up as well and set it on Terminal 3 just so it doesn't clog up our goods delivery. Speaking of, it is currently waiting. It's almost full. It's plastics that are being a bit slow. We upgraded this Northleach plastic line. How has it done since then? Still, it's doing good. It's doing really good. We only have 49 rate though, even with this train. We probably want to get more trains on here. We're doing 36 of goods, which I would have thought be achievable. I mean, our plastics delivery here is only running 30. So maybe we just need a few more here. Maybe 2 more. That gets us to 35 at least. Matches it a bit better. How about our steel? That's on 38. That should be fine then. How is our Northleach steel? doing? It's doing well now that we actually set it up properly. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And Wendover downgraded, of course, because the food delivery just got completely destroyed for a little while there. We need a couple of DMGs to handle the Wendover cargo delivery, which should be aptly renamed to Wend Food Delivery. They will load forever food in Upper Wendover. Finally, this guy arrived. It's waiting for a free path, okay. And who is blocking it? It's not this train. We are missing a... See here, we are missing a... signal here, I think, but at where is the next signal? The next signal is all the way over here, in which this food delivery train has blocked it. Let's get rid of let's get rid of this. Do a bit of a longer stretch here. Okay. This is a little bit weird. I am aware of that. But what I wanted to do is have it go like this, and then I'll get rid of that signal there. That fixes it for now. It's gonna allow it at least to go wait here. And then they'll join here on the station, and then I want them to separate. Again, I want to reconfigure this station too. I don't want these to be here. So they're running together here, and then they merge onto this corner. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe we'll just leave it just for now, but then they come in here. And I wouldn't mind having an extra length here. That should help it out a bit. Help them both out for a little bit. I mean, we could just double track it all the way, but I don't think that we want the food delivery to happen there. Because we also want some food to get to Wendover. We want to get food to Wendover, sorry, to Corby. We also want food to get to Corby. And right now we're just gathering it in Wendover, which is exactly what we don't want. How does this seem to be working? They do lose a bit of speed going up this hill, which is unfortunate. How's this coal delivery doing? That's actually doing surprisingly well. Oh, won't show me, but it looks good. It looks good. Just want to get rid of those 2 million that we took out for that train. How is Wendover doing? I mean, the food stuff is really what is being an issue right now. Also, there seems to be a little bit of a congestion issue here with delivery. Primarily food. We did sort of get them all together, so maybe it'll solve itself if we let it run for a little bit. No. I mean, yes, but... no, we have a little bit of a traffic issue there that we're gonna have to take care of. You can see our buses are being held up by the con mats being delivered in the same spot as the food, because they're coming from the same sort of direction. That is definitely a possibility. I think one way we can help ourselves is by making a connection here. That way the food delivery won't have to turn. They'll just go in this circle. That alleviates it a little bit. But we probably should have another drop-off zone for the con mats. Or maybe we should have another drop-off zone for the food, to be honest. Because this is a good place for the con mats. And food would be much better dropped off over here. And actually, if I am honest, it would be a little better if we do it in the middle here. Further away from this intersection, just so if there's a queue, they won't flood into the intersection obstructing the buses. So let's take the food delivery and we will actually move that to go to the Grove instead of New Road. And it'll go that way. I think that is gonna be what is gonna help out there. Now, Conmat's delivery is not quite matching the level as before, and food is obviously a work in progress. Where is our second food train? Was all the way. This one is all the way down here. So I guess they both did deliver food already. Yeah, so we have a lot of food just sitting and waiting to be delivered. And preferably we would get a bit more vehicles to sort of match that demand there. And hopefully Wendover will increase in its size again. Now Halstead, they want 49. We're supplying them with 14. So we definitely want to at least triple that, 43. That should take care of some of this backlog that we have going on. Although we are only supplying 39. So maybe that was a bit hasty. And we should just have it at 30. I think that makes more sense. Okay, cool. Sorry for that, a little bit of a rambly part here in the end, but we got our first cargo hub started. I mean, it's nowhere near done. We're just gonna keep expanding this one. Just Fists, beautiful. I hadn't checked that. We'll keep expanding this one cargo hub with all the different kinds of sort of materials that we are wanting to move between places. Maybe we will end up moving the food to there as well, going a different route along the mountains here underneath Wendover and into the cargo hub here. That way we can more easily get it up to Corby and also up to Chesterley Street in the future as well. I even think actually getting it up to Chesterley Street is gonna be a really good business case, because this is the boxcar we're currently running. We're running goods, we can bring food back up. That is gonna be very good. So most likely that's what we'll be doing next time. We'll connect our food to the cargo hub instead, and then we'll just gonna have to see what that means for our existing line here. Obviously, we're still transporting all of this grain up here and down to the food production plant. So those trains will still run on this line. It's not like it's gonna be completely forgotten infrastructure. But yeah, it is gonna mean that we won't have machines to bring back. But one thing it does mean is, because we get paid from like a single line, right now we're bringing machines back from Northern on Derwent back to Ashton on the Lynn, there's a big part of that line where we're running empty with our food train, and then we pick some up and then we get it down to Ashton on the Lynn. Now with the cargo hub, what we can do, and I mean some consider it a bit cheaty, it's just the way the game mechanics are, and it still makes sense for me in regards to wanting this hub where we gather all the supplies and then we move it up across the map from there. But if we take our machines and deliver them to the hub, then we can take them from the hub and deliver it to Ashton under Lynn on its way back from having delivered food up there, essentially making that line 100% efficient and getting a bit more money out of it, most likely, because there's a longer distance from Low Wendover to Ashton on the Lynn than there is from Northern on Derwent. Not a lot, but a little bit. And we'll see what it means for the line that has to bring machines out up here, but I think this is looking good. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move food to our cargo hub. We're gonna move machines to our cargo hub and sort of redistribute from there. And then we are going to be very happy once Wendover gets back to being a four cargo types kind of city, and we can keep expanding from there. And with our new cargo hub, we can keep expanding a lot more than we have been able to currently, and they'll only have one upgrade point. It's going to be really good. It's going to be really fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, a comment, and of course subscribe. It really helps out a lot. I guess we could have just one last turn, but we're gonna have to wait till next one. Bye.